Choosing a favorite Ferrari is one of the more difficult tasks you could ask of a sports car fan. There's just so many great ones to choose from. But no one could escape the late 1980s. We send them Milli Vanilli, and they send back this, the Ferrari 348. Though absolutely stunning, the 348 wasn't exactly a smash hit out of the box, especially compared to the NSX, which Honda dropped a year later. But by the time the run was done in '95, Ferrari had refined the 348 to the point of greatness, culminating in this, the 348 Challenge, one of the rarest Ferraris of the modern era. They are the right size, they make the right sounds, and they have the right badge. The problem, unfortunately, was the engine. Even with the V8's bump to 320 horsepower in the Challenge version, it just wasn't all that quick. And that is where Steve Maxwell comes in.
My name is Stacey Slead. This is Steve Maxwell's Exotic Car Service, and this is my 1994 348 Challenge. This car was found on the internet back in Ohio, and it was an original 348 Challenge race car. And it came to us relatively rough. That means door dings everywhere from floor jacks, had been seen race duty, rats had lived in it. So yeah, we pretty much took it apart, restored it, and decided to make it go fast. The turbos are 6062 T04 comp triple ball bearing turbos. We're running them very conservatively. I mean, we typically run 10 pounds for normal driving, and if I feel like it, I can go to 15 on the fly.
The Ferrari 458 has 563 horsepower, 400 pounds of torque, and weighs 3,275 pounds. And this is a 1994 Ferrari 348 Challenge. It has 600 horsepower and 500 pounds of torque at the wheels and weighs 3,175 pounds. Oh yes, this is a tasty one. When they contacted me and said, Matt, I want you to drive our car, all they sent me was a picture of the engine. And that was enough. They had me a twin-turbo Ferrari. The Ferrari 348 never gets much love. No one ever lusts after a 348 because the 355 is better. My memories of a 348 really consist of the cover of a Car and Driver magazine where a cyclone was beating it to 60. And that's how a lot of people think of these cars. I put pictures on Instagram and people go, yuck. But Steve Maxwell appears to be a man who can turn lead into gold, because this Ferrari 348 is nutty. I am a fan here. So what we've got is a twin-turbo 3.4 liter Ferrari engine, fully built with all kinds of goodies in the inside. Oh, twin ball bearing turbos, a beautiful exhaust, suspension and a gearbox from a 355 Challenge, and it is just the greatest thing ever when you match it with a gated shifter, a super sticky set of tires, and the biggest AP Racing aftermarket brakes I've ever seen. Oh, it is just delicious!
With the whole thing with modifying a Ferrari, here is where we decided to do exactly what we did, which was make it look like something that Ferrari would have made. All the scripting, everything on the vehicle is made in-house. The airboxes are made in-house to look like something that Ferrari made. Most people that aren't super up to speed with models of Ferrari and all that have no idea that this was not a production car. To accommodate the power, we chose to use 355 Challenge springs at each corner. We use 355 Challenge sway bars. It does have the 348 original Challenge wheels, which are magnesium and light. We put in a 355 gearbox. We had to upgrade our cooling system, of course, so we put relatively very large radiators in each corner. In the gearbox, to keep metal from floating around, we installed very special magnets strategically placed to pick up any particles so they don't go trashing through the gearbox, causing bigger issues. The brakes that we decided to put on this car are 14 3/4 inch, and they happen to be 38 millimeters wide. Each caliper there's 6 piston calipers, front and rear, and the brakes are identical front and back.
Okay, these brakes are nutty. There's no power steering, so the steering feel is good, but it's really heavy. You gotta hold it. Pedals are about 4 inches off to my right. I can wear shoes. Heel towing is fantastic. They say they have recorded 0 to 60 runs in 2.8 seconds, and it is gear limited to a top speed of 192 miles an hour. So here we go, second gear, 2,000 RPM. I'm flat. There's 3, 4, 4.5, 5, boost! And then it makes boost all the way to the 8,900 RPM red line. Woohoo! Yes! Oh, it's so good! It was sort of for gentlemen racers to compete with each other on the track, sort of like they do with the 355, 360, and on. You see the challenge cars. And all the 348 challenge race cars were actually street legal. So this isn't like a challenge stradale. It's actually a race car that you can drive on the street. This one, it's not just about the power or the dynamics or the handling. It's also about the attention to detail. And what I mean is, Steven has made this entire gorgeous center console with marked buttons that look factory but do different stuff.
We have a series of extra buttons in the center console, and they range from traction control. I have 2 traction control buttons. I have one that is just my everyday driving traction control button. I have a wet traction control button. We have a launch control button. We have an overboost button, which gets me from 10 pounds of boost to 15 pounds of boost. We decided to put launch control in the vehicle because, for one, it's really cool, and the computer that we used offered it.
Car's got launch control built in. I want to see how it works. This thing combines every single sound I love. Ferrari V8, turbo wastegate, the click of a gated shifter. It's an eargasm. Oh my God. Oh, if women knew what that was, they would probably react to it. Except in LA where they go, ew, you have a 340A. You're like, yeah, bitch. Yeah, bitch, I do. Okay, look, there's obviously more to a modern sports car than just a power-to-weight ratio, and on a tight circuit, there's no question in my mind that a 458 could beat this car practically on gearbox alone. However, in a straight-line drag race, it's not happening. In the higher gears, with the kind of power this car can get to the ground, I have no question it would walk a 458 all the way to 190. But ultimately, it's not about sheer speed. This car is 100% full-bore theater of the soul. It's everything you wanted from an old Ferrari, along with the power you want from a modern supercar, and an 8-piece orchestra under your right foot. It's analog, vicious, and all for you, because those who don't know it will easily dismiss it. At least until the third honk and the flame salute. Then they, like I, will know exactly what's up.